Good afternoon, everyone. This is Tanya from Sewcial Grows, and it's time for Saturday Social. So today's Saturday Social, I'm going to be talking about fat quarters and pre-cuts. And this was a question that Becky had asked about fat quarters and how else you can use them and what sort of things you can make with them. So I just wanted to sort of briefly go over what a fat quarter is, what other types of pre-cuts, and then some things that you can do with them. So first of all, what is a fat quarter? So it might be better if I just turn the camera around, and I've got a book here which has got a description. But basically, if you can imagine that fabric when you buy it from the bolt from a cut store or fabric store, then it would be about half a metre, and then sort of like that, then halved again. So if you imagine it will be it's normally about 50 centimetres by 50 centimetres. So I'm just going to turn the camera around and then I can show you. Okay, so here we are. So this book is Sarah Payne's Quilt School, and I thought that this was a good diagram of what a fat quarter is. So you've got your selvage here and here, and then the fat quarter is this quarter here. So you can also have what they call as long quarters, which would be then coming a quarter of a metre and then up. So you'd have the full width of fabric length, but you'd have a narrower finish. And a long quarter and a fat quarter, they actually have the same area, but the fat quarters do give you a more usable design, so especially if it's like a larger print. So that's what a fat quarter is. And if you want to do quilting and things, just going to come up to here. This shows you how many squares you can get out of one fat quarter. So lots of quilt designs use squares or half square triangles as well, which I'll sort of explain a bit in a minute, because that's what I've been making this morning. So fat quarters and other pre-cuts are actually really flexible pre-cuts. So what's a pre-cut? So a lot of the fabric manufacturers, when new designs collections come out from designers, there might be 20 fabrics within that collection, a mixture of prints and maybe solids as well. And a way of buying collections that you like, but without having to go and get loads of meterage for collections which can work out to be quite expensive, they often put together fat quarter bundles or jelly rolls and things like that as well. So just want to sort of show, I've got some bits and pieces here, and which I can show you as well. So let's have a look. So I'm just going to put the phone back in the holder. Makes it easier. And then, as you can see, been having a right fabric pull this morning. So this red fabric here, that would be as you would buy it from the bolt. So I'm just going to move the camera back a bit here. So that you've got the selvage edges down here. So that's the large cut. If you were to buy a long quarter, then that's what this purple one here is. So that is, so you've got the two selvages here, and then so that would be a quarter of a metre cut into the bolt. Then we then have the fat quarter, which goes, as I said, it's about 1/2 metre, but then rather than going the full width of the fabric, it only goes up half the width of the fabric. You can then have jelly rolls, and jelly rolls are normally 2.5-inch strips by the width of the fabric, which is normally about 44 inches, and they come all very tightly bound like that, so they will then go in a big sort of like spiral, and you would get between 20 and 40 strips in a jelly roll, and they're really useful for sashing and doing borders. Another pre-cut that you can get are called layer cakes, and these are 10-inch by 10-inch squares of fabric, and again they would probably be 1 or 2 for every fabric that is in that collection. They're also quite a good buy, and as you can probably see, with the 2.5-inch squares and the 10-inch squares, and then you have charm squares, which are 5-inch squares. You can see how they all fit together nicely. So from the 10-inch square you can get to 4 5x5 squares. You can have 2.5-inch strips. You can have 4 2.5-inch strips. So they all do fit together quite nicely. So we've got charm squares, which are 5x5s. You have jelly roll strips, which are 2.5 inches by about 44 inches, and they would come in packs of 20 to 40. With the charm squares, it depends on the manufacturer. You might get packs of like maybe 10 to 20, and the charm squares could be again between 20 and 40 depending on the manufacturer and the design. And then we've got the fat quarters. What I like about fat quarters, and I think it's like Becky alluded to it as well, they are quite addictive to keep buying, and so you can end up with quite a lot of them. But how I normally use them is when I'm doing a plique. So just here, I used to have a subscription to My Sewing Box, and each month you would get 6 fat quarters. So this is just a mix of them, and they all look very pretty, but as you can see, they're not really used that much, but I am gonna be making progress into those. What I also like about fat quarters is, and I've done various applique pictures, so I don't know if you can see this one here. So this is a photograph of a cottage in the Cotswolds, and I then made an applique picture of that using fabric, and that was really good for using fat quarters, because I could buy fat quarters that related to what I needed for that. So there's like this fat quarter, so I used that for the wall, and this is one that I used for the front wall. So you can just like get more themed in fat quarters, and you can buy these individually then. And then I've also done beach huts. So let's see, find this picture here of some beach huts. So another good thing that the fat quarters can be is for sky. You can buy different types of sky. Water is that was another useful fat quarter that I had. And for if you want to do beaches, then there's this type of pebbles, and then this one was sand and pebbles. So you can actually get really useful cuts of fabric in designs without having then to buy loads of meterage of fabric. You'll find that a fat quarter normally retails for about £3 to £4, and they can come in, it's like these were part of one of the subscription boxes, and these are a Lewis and Irene print. So we've got all ducks on there, and I think, I'm not sure if this is called the village or something like that. So again, we've got a fat quarter would give you a lot more of a usable space. If you were to have a long quarter, yes, it would be longer than this, but you can see that the print that you've got available is going to be a lot more limited. Another useful thing to do with fat quarters is to fussy cut them. So what we mean by fussy cutting is when you say, right, okay, I'm going to take my picture or my block is going to be a particular size. So you can say, right, let's move this up a bit. I want to take in the church and the house and part of the pond. So then you can just cut round that, and by using a clear acrylic ruler you can then make sure that you're getting the same part of the design in your next bit as well. So it's quite good if they've got larger designs like this, if there's parts that you can then cut out and have as your focus piece. I really like this one. This one is another Lewis and Irene. It's from the Hummingbird design collection, and I really like this, and I'm actually going to fussy cut part of this out, so probably something like that, to use as a centre block for a quilt pattern. So that's how fat quarters can be used if you want to do applique work. And also if you get them from in the same collections, then you know that all the fabrics are going to go together and harmonise well. So these two here are also from the Hummingbird collection, so you can see that all of the colours do work really nicely. All of the designs do work really nicely together. So here's just the selection. So this, you can get plains, you can get like tone on tone ones, small designs and large designs. So quite a variety that you can get. I've also got, when I was doing some pictures, grass. So that was another fat quarter that I had, which was focused on a particular design that I needed at the time for a picture that I was doing. So what can you then do with fat quarters? So one of the quilts that I'm working on at the moment is part of the Modern Quilters Academy, and we're doing a quilt which is called the Satin Pants quilt, which is this sort of chevron design here. So we can choose the colours that we want to use, and I didn't want to go and buy more fabric when I had all of my fat quarters, so I actually chose a selection of fat quarters. So these are the ones that I chose, and so we had navy, got it as like lime green, and a patterned pink. So I chose a pattern and a plain from all of my fat quarters. So we used the navy as where the white would be, and then all the patterns were this one with peacocks, and I had the green to go with that, and then this design, and I chose the lime to go with that. So those are the 6 fabrics that I had, and then the navy for where we would see the white. So this morning I think that I showed the picture of doing all of my piecing. So I have made 80 half square triangles. These, as you can probably see, the half square triangles. So you would make them in, so these are 4.25 inches square. and then you place a one square of the navy fabric and one square of the green fabric right sides together. You draw then a line going down the centre. You would then do one seam 1/4 of an inch this side of this line, 1/4 seam, another 1/4 of an inch seam this side of the line, and then you cut up the centre, and that then leaves you with 2 blocks like this. So yeah, so we've now got 80 of these in all of the 6 designs, and we will be putting them together to make up this. So a lot of people have done white with colours and patterns. I've actually chosen to use the navy because it was something that I had in my stash, and I was just trying to be a bit more economical with things that I had. So I will look forward to putting all of that quilt together and can show you over time. And then let's have some more ideas of other things that you can make. So I've got a couple of books here, which I'll just show you. So this book here is called 20 Mini Quilt Blocks. So from Fat Quarters you could make some mini quilt blocks. So here they've got them as sort of mug rugs or coasters, but you could then make a sort of sampler quilt using one or more different designs, and these could all be made from Fat Quarters. And then in this book it's got different things that you can make. So we've got drawstring bags, we've got card holders, there's a zipped pencil case, some plate dividers and some egg cozies, and then this hanging bag here. So this is like quite good. Here we go. Here's some of the patchwork coasters that you can make, and all of the designs in this book can be made from 1 or 2 Fat Quarters. So what I might do is just put something together and have a go at making some of these, and then I can show you more. So I think we've sort of covered quite a lot. So it isn't all about quilts. Let me just take the phone back. There are lots of things that you can do with Fat Quarters. Yes, quilts, and is that they're actually quite good for that. Like I said, you can get lots of fabrics in each collection, but there are also like small items that you can make that could be gifts for friends and family. And I know it might be seem a bit too soon to mention Christmas, but it might be worth thinking about, you know, if there's something that you can make for friends and family that could use up some of your fabric stash. So one thing that I think is quite good here, I'm just going to hold it up, are tissue pack holders. So they're quite a nice little gift, and you could probably get, it says 1 Fat Quarter will make 3 tissue pack holders. So maybe something like that. Or if you want to make I have seen a mask holder, and so it's a little pouch which can hold your face mask in, and maybe some hand sanitizer, and that could be a little zipped pouch or fold over pouch, something like that. If you've got young children and you want to have a go at making quilts, then obviously the sizing will be a lot more manageable, especially for those of you who are beginners. So that's, and you can have some quite quick and easy designs, and just going to show you this. So this book here, Quick and Easy Quilts for Kids. Now they're not necessarily from Fat Quarters, but if you look at these blocks here, you can see that they could easily be made from fat quarters that you've cut these to size with. And so like this quilt here, all of these smaller squares could be cut from your fat quarters, and then if you've got some coordinating fabric, that can then be used for the longer blocks. And I think there's another one, another quilt. There's it. And this one here. So this is done using two types of blocks. So you've got square blocks and you've also got oblong blocks. So I'm just going to take you over to here and this diagram here. So again, these can be used from pre-cuts. This could actually work really well from a jelly roll, because you could have both the squares and the blocks, you could just cut from the jelly roll strips. So, and that could make a little quilt like that. So, I hope that's been helpful. It's been probably a bit of a brief tour around fat quarters and pre-cuts, but they're not something to be afraid of. And like I said, they're a really good way to build your stash, your fabric stash, but they can be quite addictive. And I don't think that when we go to when we've been to the knitting and stitching shows in the past, we've always come back with a handful of fat quarters. They are often sold from designer collections in packs of 5. So you'd have like 5 different designs from the collection, or you can get packs of 20, and it might then have one of every design in the collection. It really does depend on the fabric store that you're buying from and how they purchase. Some fabric stores buy the pre-done packs from Moda, which are the jelly rolls and the layer cakes and the charm squares, and some quilt stores, like I know that Creative Quilting in near Hampton Court, they cut their own like layer cakes and jelly roll equivalents, as do a lot of other fabric stores. So it's worth taking a look at if you want to start collecting some fabrics, and I really look forward to seeing what you might want to make. If you've got some fabrics and you're not quite sure of what to do, then let me know. Maybe take a picture of them, and let's share some photos of our fabric stash and see what ideas we can come up with. So I hope that's been helpful, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. So take care and enjoy searching through your fabrics, and see you next week. Bye.